as the sun was setting and it was becoming more and more apparent that I had a further distance to hike than I had planned or anticipated, I started to panic. Hey folks, Mike here. Day 4 of my hike along the Thames Valley Trail, and I just parked at the Fanshawe Dam. The gates are still closed, but they'll be opening up shortly. But I will be doubling up on some kilometers that I did yesterday. So basically from the dam to the Pioneer Village is what I had to do last night on my way back to the car, or to get it picked up rather. So I'll be re-hiking those kilometers, maybe about 4 or 5, and then it's another 20 or so to St. Mary's. So it's a little chilly again this morning. Had to put another layer of clothes on just to make sure I'm staying warm, and feet are a little bit better but still a little sore, but so a combination of trying to take it easy so that I don't hurt myself, but at the same time I really got to get to St. Mary's before sundown. So taste of the trail itself. So fair warning, as you come out of the Fanshawe Park, there's like a day use area, and then the blazes basically stop. So you have to kind of follow the well, for lack of a better term, the trail, which is also a bit of a driveway of sorts, which also leads into the golf course. There. And as you go through the golf course, you'll notice that, as you can see here, you're actually on top of the ravine or embankment of sorts for the lake. So fair warning, if you're going to do the trail at some point, just go through the day use area of the park, continue on. You'll actually go through a bit of a parking lot, and again, there's going to be no blazes. And in the back corner of the parking lot, right next to the dumpsters, is where the trail continues. So fair warning. And even at this point, I still haven't found any blazes on the trail here. So don't be discouraged if you don't see one. If you're using All Trails considers this to be the Fanshawe Trail or Fanshawe Lake Trail, something to that effect, which is what I want now, of course, but part and parcel of the Thames Valley Trail. All right, folks, so I've basically gone past the bigger portion of the lake, and as you can see, it's actually no longer in sight, although it is just beyond those trees, so it's still on my right. And Thorndale Road is maybe about a 1.5 kilometers ahead, but now it's a really nice walk in the woods. And basically from here, once I get to and cross Thorndale, the trail continues to follow the river through to Plover Mills. Now there is I believe a permanent reroute that takes the trail away from the river for maybe about a kilometer or two. I'd have to double check the map, and slowly make my way into St. Mary's. Lots of squirrels running out of the, whoops, there goes one, out of the reeds. It is really, really pretty here. That much I will say. I can hear somebody around. Maybe some people fishing, perhaps. So, not 5 minutes after I stopped recording, I come across a rest area. And it looks like some kind of an orchard, perhaps. Trying to look for. Don't really see any form of plaque, just a cairn. And what looks to be a garbage pail. And a fire pit, which is really nice. Wow. Fantastic. Well, guys, I know I'm running out of time of sorts, but with the setting sun, this was way too pretty to pass up and show you guys. So I just passed through a farmer's field, and it looks like I'll be going through the woods again. River right next to me. Some very funky old trees. Nice. All right, back at it. Well, folks, this is probably going to be my last video on the trail. My phone finally got enough signal to update all trails, and judging by the thumb and the scale, I had about 6 kilometers left to do, and that was maybe 10 minutes ago or so. So as you can see, I have very little sunlight left, and I'm just going to hoof it, and I will do another recording from my car or tomorrow morning or something, and let you know how it all panned out. So here's off to St. Mary's, and yeah, hopefully a warm meal very shortly as well. I'm starving. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed these videos. Like, subscribe, comment down below, ask questions, any questions at all if you have them, and hope to see you out there. Ciao. Well, folks, 9 hours later, as you can see, I made it to St. Mary's and the link to the Avon Trail, and I am pooched. What was supposed to be a 20 or 25 kilometer hike from where I left off at the Fanshawe Dam ended up being almost 40 kilometers, and I have a wicked I can't even talk. I don't know if it's a sprain or a complete seizure of my right quad, but it was a struggle to get to this point, and now it's a matter of trying to get back to the car. Hopefully it's still there at the dam, and go home. Well, I will do another quick video later on at some point to give you all the tallies and times and distances and stuff once I do a little bit of recoup. So if you've made it to the end of this video, congratulations. If you've watched all 4 days of my hiking the Thames Valley Trail, you deserve a prize. Unfortunately, I don't have any prizes to give out, other than some hard-earned lessons that I've learned. Not everything that I ran into made it to the videos that you've seen, but the easiest one of which was that I was not prepared. So it was a short-ish hike, meaning it's not like I was backpacking as a through hike without any breaks, or I wasn't camping on the trail, and it's not like I was out in the middle of the wilderness. But I was still ill-prepared in the sense that I didn't pack correctly. So the first day was fine, nice and warm, but it got cold, and I didn't have a jacket, I didn't have a sweater, and I kind of suffered the consequences of that. Luckily, I was able to go to the store on my second day and pick up a sweater, and I was fine. But on day 4, I made another mistake and misjudged how far I had to hike to get to St. Mary's. And because of that, by the time I stopped, it was after dark. And remember, this is November. So as warm as it was my first day, it got really cold really quick. And again, I wasn't prepared for that. I had a sweater, but as soon as I stopped, I was pooched. As I was hiking, I was able to keep my body temperature fairly warm and didn't really have too many problems. But it's when I stopped at nighttime, that's when I ran into problems, and I started getting cold really quick. So, lessons to be learned. Make sure you look at the weather and look at not just what the high is for the day, but what the low is. And be prepared. You can always take layers off. You can't make something out of nothing. Next, double check and triple check the distances that you are looking to do. My last day was supposed to be between 20 and 25 kilometers, but because of a slight thumb calculation on the map, it ended up being 38. So it was a bad experience. Now, the other thing is, even though I was mostly prepared, meaning, as you saw in the videos, I had a toque and I did pick up a sweater, and I even had gloves on. The gloves were not really meant for keeping me warm. They were basically just a means to kind of protect my fingers from maybe the wind chill or something to that effect. Even though I would say I'm an experienced hiker, I'm definitely not professional, and I have a lot to learn still. So hopefully you learn with me and don't learn things the hard way as I did. The biggest mistake that I made was that on my last day, as the sun was setting and it was becoming more and more apparent that I had a further distance to hike than I had planned or anticipated, I started to panic. And that is probably the very worst thing that you could possibly do when you're out hiking. Now, again, it's not like I was in the middle of nowhere and I was hours away from civilization or, you know, whatever. But still, you're alone, you're on a trail. Luckily I had cell service, so that wasn't really an issue. But it's really tough to fight off that, oh my God, things are not going according to plan, and that kind of feeling. So when that happened, I started hiking faster than I really should have. And just before that last segment where it was dark out and my headlamp was on, you saw the sign for the Avon Trail in St. Mary's. Leading up to that, I was really shuffling fast through leaves, and as beautiful as it was, and I loved the smell and the sound of the leaves on the ground and everything else, what ended up happening was I got myself a cramp in my quad, in my right quad, and as a righty, that's my dominant side, and it got to be so bad that I couldn't even lift my leg to take steps up. So you can imagine going up and down ravines without the ability to bend my knee or to put a lot of weight on it or a lot of strain on it. So again, big problem. Now, the one good thing that happened was the soreness in my feet kind of gave way to the soreness on my quad. Call it endorphins or adrenaline, whatever the case may be. One problem kind of allowed me to get past another one. And needless to say, I did finally make it to St. Mary's, as you saw, but I was cold and I was really sore. And what kind of topped everything off was that I had no way home. I had no way to get back to my car. And the reason for that was, even though I had called ahead to the taxi service that was in St. Mary's, I did not know or ask what time they stopped operations for the day, which ended up being 7 o'clock at night. Now ask me what time I got into St. Mary's. After 7. So let's put all this together, shall we? I wasn't prepared. I was cold. It was dark. And I was more than sore. And to top it all off, I was almost stranded. And I say almost because luckily I had a really good friend who lived in town and was able to bail me out and take me back to my car. But it could have been a lot worse. And in the current state of our province, it means that we're still in the middle of a pandemic. The likelihood of me going door to door saying, hey, do you mind driving me 20 some odd kilometers to my car back in London? Possible? Sure. Am I that type of person that would be going door to door? Not really. So, yeah, it was a learning experience. And hopefully by watching these videos, you picked up on that and you don't make the same mistakes that I did. So be prepared. Double, triple check what you are planning on doing. Obviously, make sure somebody knows where you are, where you're going, your anticipated time and time frame of where you're going to go, where you're going to end up. And by all means, make sure that you have a confirmed way to get either back to your car, back to civilization, wrap up your trip. I was really lucky. And thanks to Chris rather, for picking me up, taking me back, and I owe you a huge amount of gratitude, man. Anyways, and of course, the last thing is shoes. I looked at the maps and I saw just how much roadside walking there was. And I thought, especially in the first little bit, I'm going to wear my running shoes. And for the most part, it was actually pretty good. They were easy on the soles of my feet, and it made it a lot easier to hike the road. But what also happened was the little bits of trail that I was hiking, the running shoes did not provide the support that my feet needed. And what happened was that my foot slipped or shifted in the shoe, and as you can figure out, caused me pain. So again, not properly prepared. Hiking shoes all the way. Never again. Hopefully you've learned a few things. If you have any questions at all, any comments at all, feel free to leave those down below in the comment section. I would be more than happy to get back to you and lend any assistance that I can. The Thames Valley Trail started out pretty slow. Again, a lot of roadside walking, but it was really pretty in a lot of places, and I do not regret doing it at all. I was very pleasantly surprised by the beauty that I saw, considering that I used to live in London for a number of years. And I highly suggest doing a day trip, doing a multi-day trip, and doing it end to end. The Trail Association does offer a badge, and I do have that hanging up on my wall at home for completion of a end to end. Possible to do it in 3 days, better to do it in 4, but again, it really depends on your level of, or your ability to hike long distances in a day. So if you want to do, say, 20 kilometers a day, you can do it in 5 days. If you do 35 kilometers a day, you can do it in 3. Don't push yourself though. Anyways, folks, I've gone on long enough, and I probably said that twice already. I'm going to end this with a really nice shot of the river here, which is the Grand River, just a few kilometers away from my house. Have yourself a wonderful day, wonderful weekend, wonderful upcoming hiking season, provided that we're allowed outside again with this pandemic. And like, subscribe. Hope to see you out there. Ciao.